We're talking, all of you will be, on locals, will be interested in all this sort of stuff. And to everybody else on all the other platforms, good morning. And an amazing, positive morning to all of you. I hope you're all having an amazing day. I've been up for quite a few hours now trying to get on top of a million things that are going on all at once, and I'm sure we're all there. So right now I'm just going to start the TikTok video. I'm going to do a little promo. So everybody who's on TikTok, yes, I've been doing lives once in a while, but I guess TikTok, for as long as we have it, doesn't save the live streams. So I'm doing this little promo just to tell all of you to come watch the live stream on either YouTube, so youtube.com/BJDonline, on locals, honkingforfreedom.locals.com. You can also find it now on Rumble. We're still testing. I think it's working. I don't know. Honking for Freedom on Rumble. And but this is not going to be a full stream on TikTok. And what are we talking about today? What we're talking about is going to be of interest to a lot of you here, especially those of you who are involved in the Freedom Convoy and the story that's highlighted in this. I think it's a fabulous book, but I might be biased. And we're talking about specifics. We're not talking in general terms like our politicians always want to discuss things. Specifically, how the Trudeau regime restricts your civil liberties in court. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples we discussed last night, further expanding upon one of the podcasts I produced, Not On Record, which does have a TikTok account, by the way. You can follow it at Not On Record. So come join the live stream and join the live chat, and we'll talk more about it. You're probably going to find this interesting. All right, so that's the end of the recording of TikTok, and let me just go type this in here. So we're going to do let's say YouTube.com, and I'll get to the comments in a second. I see all of you are here, and I love you for it. Thank you. And I know all of you on Discord are here, and I got to say hello to Rocky. Now, who is Rocky? Rocky is a fabulous... I keep calling it a parrot. Rocky's not a parrot. I know that. Hold on. Freedom Coffee live stream episode 128. You know, at some point I'm going to have to do these as audio as well, aren't I? Let's tag a whole bunch of people because, hey, why not? There's nothing more fun than somebody doing social media posts on their live stream. Hold on, I heard somebody is sending me something in the Discord as well. I'll answer in 1 second. All right, I got that out, and hopefully that will also link to Instagram, and everybody else will be quiet. All right, perfect. So I got a few of you in here. Let me get to your comments here. Where did you? I just moved you. Oh, okay. Good morning. Oh, yeah, Lisa, you're here. Good morning, Ellen. Good morning as well. Hitchhiker, you're here again, brother. Hitchhiker got a little tipsy last night while we were doing the stream, and I guess did I seem like I was tipsy last night? Because I don't know. I only had a couple of glasses of wine, and I'm not much of a drinker, but perhaps I was. I don't know. Anyways, good morning, and Effie, good morning as well. Ryan, what's up, brother? I haven't seen you in a while, man. I hope you're all well. By the way, Ryan, are you in the Discord server? Because if you're not, I'm pretty sure you'd probably enjoy it. A lot of the people that you've seen here come and go in the comments are in the Discord server as well. So by all means, a little BJ, you're a lightweight. Yes, listen, I'm not a big drinker. And it's funny, when I broke my ankle during the convoy in Ottawa, the doctor said to me, you know, how much do you drink? Do you do any drugs, both illegal and legal and stuff? And I said, no, I'm not a drinker. I definitely don't do any drugs, any of that sort of stuff. And you could tell there was that hint of skepticism in his mind. And I'm like, whatever. And I had a friend who was there with me, right? So they said they're going to, we're going to administer what is it, ketamine or something, whatever the drug is that puts you under. And I said, okay, I've never been in the hospital, so I don't know. You tell me. And Ryan, send me a message on Twitter, a DM on Twitter, and which are open right now. I follow you anyways, and I'll send you the link as soon as this is done, because the links expire, right? And I'll explain that after. So the doctor says to me, he says, okay, we're going to administer ketamine and put you under, and then we're going to reset your ankle and all that sort of stuff. And I was already, one of the truckers gave me, I don't know, a bunch of pills. Percocets, I think it's called, and some other stuff. So I was like not feeling anything already. I'm like, okay, whatever. And so they administered the ketamine, and apparently when I went under, my friend who was there said all the doctors were giggling and laughing. And I said, this is annoying. And I said, I asked her why. She says, well, you said you didn't do any drugs or drink or anything. They put you under, and the doctor says, whoa, this guy really doesn't do any drugs. It took like a fraction of what it normally takes to put people under when they went to reset my ankles. So, Lisa, yes, I am definitely a lightweight, and I don't have a problem with that. You know, my dad taught me when I was really young. He told me this story about going to his first fraternity party. He went to university in the States. He lived, out west, but a lot of people out west would sometimes go to university in the States. Different time back then, right? And he said he went to his first fraternity party, and he told me this when I was 6 years old. He was walking up to the house, and he saw some student, a kid who was there, who was lying down on the grass in front of the house under a tree, covered in vomit. And, my dad was worried, like, oh my God, are you okay? He walked up to him, we need an ambulance or something? And the guy said it was kind of half dazed and said, no, this is the best night of my life. And my dad's lesson to me when I was 6 years old was, I realized then that if you need some sort of chemical, if you need something to give some calm and solace and pleasure to your life, you may want to reevaluate the circumstances of your life. And that's probably why I never got, I tend not to have any addictive tendencies to anything. Maybe girls a little bit, but that's about it. But yeah, so that's why I'm not a big drinker. And lately, over the past year, because since the convoy, there have been lots of, friends around from time to time trying to get me to calm down. Well, not calm down, but I don't know. I've never had alcohol and food together in my life until, I don't know, in the past year. So, but anyways, we'll keep it as Andrea. Happy Friday to you too. It's good to see you, and I love hearing from you. We're going to have to do something on Discord soon, by the way. So we're starting to set up moderators. Andrea, I don't know if you want to be a moderator. We have 3 people already for different channels. So there's going to be a moderator for every channel, and then once we have all the moderators set up, then we're going to start doing things audio, video, within the Discord server as well. So if you're interested, we need somebody to moderate the Spanish channel. And I don't know if you or if you know somebody who would want to. And all it is just to make sure when we start bringing lots of people in, that anybody who's trolling or attacking other people unfairly, then we're just going to, ultimately eject them. We're just trying to get away from the toxicity that you see in Twitter. On that topic, there's also something else. I'm going to show you here if I can open this window. It's this one. Let me see if it goes on the screen. I want to show you something called Nostr. Now, you're going to ask, what is Nostr? Nostr is decentralized, basically Twitter. It's like Twitter. I just set it up yesterday, so I really don't know how to use it at this point. But I don't know where the panel is. Where I guess you click it here. Oh, okay. Here's your profile. So this is my Nostr profile, and what it is, it utilizes the whole decentralized apparatus for what is Bitcoin, and it applies it to those some of the people I'm following. It applies it to social media. Now, why is this important? Because Nostr will be censorship resistant because there's no centralized authority that controls it. It runs through all of these different relays, for example, that shows you here. And so just kind of a hedge. I'm not terribly worried about Twitter, but I am sick and tired of the shadow banning and the brigading from BigCon Canada political operatives who are trying to ensure as few people as possible get to hear me speak. And that's why I utilize all these different platforms. And you should too, just as a hedge against any of against that sort of behavior from other people. So it's the application that you use for a Nostr account is called Damus, D-A-M-U-S. It's both on iOS, on iPhone, and on I'm using a Mac on Mac OS. I'm sure I don't know if it's Damus for Android, and because it's a client, meaning multiple different programs would be able to access your Nostr account. That's why it's censorship resistant. And so just something for y'all to consider. I'll post something also in the Discord. So for those of you who want to try it out, let me know, and we'll see if we can get more of you into a censorship-resistant atmosphere. Tao, and yes, clutching to the grass, trying not to get feeling. I'm okay. You know what? You guys are all having a conversation, so I'm lost on your comments. Andrea, you can count on me. Okay, perfect. So Andrea, we'll put you on the list as one of the moderators, and you can be the moderator for the Spanish channel, and maybe we can bring more people in to engaging in conversation there. D2, good morning. Freedom lovers from snowed up PEI. It's snowing again there. I was actually talking about you yesterday, D2, because PEI came up actually. And I mentioned that one of the people that's frequently in our comments is from PEI. And my brother used to go there growing up. And I've heard nothing but wonderful things about it. And I will go there at some point, but it will be in the summer. Because as Lisa likes to say, I'm a lightweight. All right. So yesterday, hitchhiker, I don't drink often and refuse to waste good wine. Yeah. No, I'm not suggesting that you don't, right? Like once in a while, it's fine. And I've been doing these streams where we drink a little bit on the weekends and have a couple of glasses of wine. Like that's completely cool. But that's more than I've ever drank it, actually. Tao, when you are so drunk and the earth is spinning so hard, you need to hold on to something. Yeah, that's probably true. Pam, good morning. Good morning to you, Pam, as well. Okay, so yesterday I discussed these couple of issues, but I think it's really important and it's pointed, and that's why I wanted to share it with some of you. I know some of you can be here in the morning and can't be here in the evenings and vice versa. But this is specifically about how Justin Trudeau, or the Trudeau administration, because it wasn't just him. It was him and that I call her that idiot, Jody Wilson-Raybould, who was very frustrating when people were celebrating her, came up with this scheme. And let me just get this, move into the window and open it up. To restrict your freedoms in Canada, in our court system. So a little bit of background for those who weren't here last night when I explained it. I do produce a couple of podcasts, and one of them is Not on Record with Joseph Newberger and Diana Davidson. Joseph Newberger is a good friend and a criminal lawyer. And this is what frustrated me in Ottawa, that I had these shithead incompetent lawyers that were all politicized around. And I remember saying to a couple of the others, I was joking, I'm like, hey, like not only do I produce this podcast, but you know, everybody kind of we make fun of each other's cultures in jest, right? Hey, perhaps because of my culture, I might know a couple of lawyers. I don't know, like 10 of them I could call right now who have a competency level far beyond the nonsense we're dealing with here, right? But people didn't heed the warning. And I think in retrospect, they would probably think differently at this point because they've trapped themselves. Every time they didn't listen to me, they trapped themselves. When they listened to me, everything worked well. Anyways, whatever. I can go on. Could write a book about it. Oh, wait. I did. What's happening with is the local still operating? I don't know why it keeps unstable internet connection. I don't know what's going on with the iPad. Okay. Anyways, I will be living back in Ontario by the summer. 7-year itch. Okay, well, let me know when you're here. I would like to, once it gets warm, it would be nice for a bunch of us to get together. Those of you who are here, I was going to be in Montreal this weekend. I've had to postpone it yet again, but I will be there sometime soon. I'll also be in the Ottawa area, and it'd be nice to just get together, go for drinks, hang out, go for dinner or something. A few of us. So when you're in Ontario, D2, let me know. If you want to get together with some of us, that would be awesome. Okay, so this podcast, I've just queued up the video. This is in reference to Trudeau and Jody Wilson-Raybould. So something you'll never hear out of the political class. This is how you know they're dishonest with you. They'll never give you specificity on an issue. And the reason they'll never give you specificity on an issue of their messaging is because they think wrongly, because they're still living in the 1970s, they think if they give ambiguous statements, then things can be interpreted different ways and they can broaden their voting bloc, which is complete nonsense. If you understand human behavior, you understand how inaccurate that worldview is. And that if you want to get people on your side, sometimes people will disagree with you. But that doesn't mean they won't support you, even though they disagree with you on certain, nuanced issues. At least if you're open to the conversation, they'll support you. That's what I have been trying to explain to the revolving door of idiots that is the Conservative Party when I was heavily involved with them. But of course, nobody listens because they all know everything. And they're very corrupt, right? And it's not just the Conservatives, all the political classes like that. Ryan, I'm moving to Ontario this summer too. Okay, let's hang out. We'll do something on a weekend sometime. That's good news, man. Why does everybody come back to Ontario? I thought everybody was going away to Alberta. But anyways, whatever. Everything's in transit. Okay, so the specific example that the political class will never give you, I try to give you on not only when I do these streams, but on the platforms that I work on and I build and I support and I'm part of, working with a team of other people. Okay, now this is one of those platforms. This podcast is not on record. Which airs 8 o'clock on Sunday nights every week. And then we have these little short segments that we clip out, and this is one of the shorts. Now, this relates to the tweet that I posted. So let me read the tweet for you first. And then yes, this is familiar to those of you who were last night, but this is important, which is why I want to repeat it, because it is so vital and important. All right. The tweet reads, 2 alarming civil liberties restrictions implemented by Trudeau Liberals. Number 1, ending the 300-year-old tradition to preliminary hearings. And number 2, Defense Counsel's ability to screen jurors for bias. And I got halfway through this when Locals was disrupted last night, which prompted me to talk about this again today. Okay, so let me go to the video here so we can listen to about half of it so you understand what the concern is. Oops, hold on. Okay, you know what helps? If you unmute it. Let me unmute it. There we go. Let me go back.
In the United States, you'll try anything in front of a jury, including impaired driving. I think, and to have what they call a bench trial in the United States is insane to them. But they have robust abilities to actually pick a jury, where in Canada, we just look at somebody and go, okay, first 12's fine, whatever. You could be biased. Yeah. We don't know. Can't challenge. No, thank you, Mr.
So, as I mentioned yesterday, we've all seen movies around legal premises where there's a jury screening process, right? I think My Cousin Vinny was a part of it. That might be one of the movies I was thinking about. All right, so this is what they're talking about, the process of screening jurors.
minister.
Well, actually,
We can't challenge anybody.
and again,
Yeah,
and
they're going to be challenged for cause, but you can't pick a jury here properly.
again, you know, the rule for peremptory challenges was abolished
And I don't expect any better from a conservative government, with all due respect.
because of one case of an acquittal in Saskatchewan, right?
We've said this before. It's f***ing mind-blowing how in
One
Canada,
case.
because one case which led to an acquittal with the death of an Indigenous young man, which clearly was.
There were complicating circumstances which made it so concerning why the Justice Minister at the time went to Twitter.
She's talking about Jody Wilson-Raybould.
That she was this young man, which clearly was.
There were complicating circumstances which made it so concerning why the Justice Minister at the time went to Twitter to say that she was disappointed in the verdict, having not actually been at the trial.
Right. Look, let's say optically it was troubling, but you still don't have your Justice Minister and your Prime Minister denigrate the jury, denegate the trial process without having been there, read the transcripts, and been part of it, and then wipe out several hundred years of jury selection process in Canada.
Now, interestingly,
Wipe it out.
The challenge to that actually went to Supreme Court was
Show
the accused was an Indigenous person. Was it not?
No.
No, he was
okay.
a person of color.
I know there was one challenge because there were quite a few actually until
There were, but the one that went to Supreme Court of Canada was a person of color.
Yeah.
I cringe every time, I mentioned this last night, every time I hear that racist term, person of color, I think of the movie Mississippi Burning, where they used to refer to people as colored people, right? That's exactly what the far left is doing. Anyway, sorry.
And the Supreme Court said,
And by the way, these people are not far left. This is just the SJW nonsense that's infected our legal system.
sure, no problem. We don't have to have any peremptory challenges.
Well,
Let the judge vet them.
Because the argument at the time was that white people will eliminate marginalized community members.
That's bullshit.
And that
It's just f***ing bullshit. It's bullshit. Crown attorneys did not like this.
What you're witnessing, which is great about this, and you know, I love Joe, and we have kind of certain differing political views on things, but what I love about this is you're watching in real time what people are going through in the legal system as they're discovering the legal system is being completely co-opted by SJW religiosity nonsense, right? And they're dealing with it on a daily basis, and these are people who just believe in merit, right? And they're having to struggle with this. It's really interesting.
And I can't tell you how many jury trials I did prior to this legislation and prior to the pandemic, where I would talk with the Crown, and the Crown would say, okay, there's somebody there that I don't want on this jury. How about you challenge them and I'll do something for you? You know why? Because we wanted a jury that we thought would be representative of our community, but also able to think through the process, right? So somebody came up and I'm like, you know, with a t-shirt on said, I love weed, the government. Neither of us would want them.
right.
they don't take their job seriously.
Right. We've always wanted a jury. I've always wanted a jury that was mature, experienced, with a diverse experience, both in race and in experience. And that was not dissimilar most of the time to the Crown.
That's right, Cheryl.
So I rarely had an adversarial process with the Crown about selecting a jury. Never was this to try and exclude some identified minority. I really don't know that that's any.
I'll tell you, back in the days when you could have peremptory challenges, we did have.
Can we explain for a moment, because people don't remember, what's a peremptory challenge?
Peremptory challenge is the defense and the Crown had a number of challenges where you didn't have to give a reason. So you didn't, you looked at the, the juror, and you just said, no, I don't want him on my.
Yeah, 'cause
Was there something about the profession or?
Yeah. So we know very little about potential jurors. We know barely a name. Now we don't even know a name.
No, you know a name.
A number. They get a number assigned, and maybe their occupation.
And occupation.
That's it. Okay, so that's all you know. And then the juror comes up, and there's this archaic thing: juror look upon the accused look upon the jury, and they're allegedly supposed to
They
look at
didn't
each
do that
other.
at the last the only jury trial I've been to, they actually didn't do that.
Well, they're supposed to.
They're supposed to. And actually, there's a benefit to that, because when I in the Crown used to see a juror look upon the accused, so you're supposed to fucking look at the accused and me standing beside the accused. And if the juror's doing this, you excuse them.
Yeah.
You bye. Because you're not remotely interested.
Or like deferred look, and then look away.
Yeah, they're not, we want somebody who can have the muster to look at us, and
I would argue there's something more concerning, right? Especially in our politicized climate. What happens if you have, I don't know, like he said, they can't challenge jurors the same way they used to in the past. What happens if somebody's, I don't know, on the local riding association for the Trudeau Liberals, right? Or EDA, whatever they call them, right? That sort of bias. That is now going unchecked. And you don't have, Trudeau's, Jody Wilson-Raybould, has stripped you of your right to screen your jurors. And the example I gave last night was talking about people who, because this is a common theme that comes up in Not on Record, is because of Diana Davidson's work in the past, the people who are falsely accused with Me Too allegations. And the example I gave that we have discussed, together on, behind the scenes leading up to their podcast, because they've told me a bunch of like horrific stories of when, your child is going to university and, dating culture is a little bit difficult right now. And God forbid your child gets slapped with a Me Too allegation. And there was a specific case we did an episode specifically on that. A kid was like he was a very, very intelligent, high GPA student at, I think it was Queen's University, if I'm not mistaken. False Me Too accusation, completely false. And it ruined his life. And, now his parents, or if it was your children, your parents, or you, for your children, need to now go out and figure out how you're going to raise money to defend your 18, 19-year-old kid who doesn't have a pot to piss in, and but he's going to go to jail if you don't figure out a way to raise money for a legal defense for him, which is very, very expensive. And this affects all of you, and all the people who are like, well, if you don't get into trouble, then you don't really have to worry. Really? What happens when you misgender somebody, right? And that now becomes criminalized behavior. Or what happens under this whole C11 stuff if you say something on the internet or you say something negative about the government that they decide is misinformation. Like, remember, they keep moving the ball, the Overton window. And in the example of the Freedom Convoy, if you remember, this was crazy. This is so in contravention of British common law and liberal jurisprudence, where what's her name? The short one, the Hobbit one. What's her name? The finance Freeland, Christopher Freeland, the Nazi granddaughter, when she made it retroactively illegal to have given money to Give, Send, Go. Oh, and you know who else did that? Doug Ford did that. The conservative Doug Ford. And all the conservatives, when you ask them about it, crickets, say nothing, right? They all did this. That's the slippery slope we're going, and I don't like slippery slope arguments, but we seem to be having that going on. And so it's really, really concerning that this sort of stuff goes on, and nobody in our political class amongst the major parties are talking about it, if you notice. No one is talking about this sort of nonsense. So it affects all of you. It affects everybody directly. And that was with the case of preliminary hearings. With preliminary hearings, that there's a 300-year-old tradition in British common law. And the Trudeau administration, Jody Wilson and Trudeau, just decided, we're just going to end it. What do you mean you're going to end it? What do you mean you're ending it? Like, this is a process that's twice as old as Canada. Yet you're just going to, I just arbitrarily don't want it anymore. So there are two specific examples. So when we talk about I hear this from the left. What kind of freedoms are you having restricted? And it's like the kind of freedoms that we are all having restricted is the termination of preliminary hearings and the inability to screen your defense attorneys, defense counsel, to screen jurors and jury trials. There specifically are two exact examples how in our judicial system, the Trudeau administration and all the other sheep in the political class are going along with, where they restrict all of your freedoms. There are two concrete examples. And we need to get politicians who talk about concrete examples, not just ambiguous terms. It's just so frustrating. Anyways, whatever. Lisa, the Hobbit. Well, I don't know. She looks like a hobbit, right? Like, I don't know, she's short, fat, ugly. And she's an extremist. Well, what do you want? I mean, I shouldn't say that because hobbits are nice. They're not communists like she is. And I was talking with somebody I haven't read her book. I was talking with somebody in the States who read The Hobbit. Maybe that's what they should call her book, The Hobbit. Somebody do a meme of her biography. She's got some really, really crazy conspiratorial worldviews. Like, she is not far off of her grandfather. She really is a psycho. But anyways, if you don't get into trouble, what about when trouble seems or seeks you out? Looking at you, JT. Yeah, there's this expression that dates back to, was Parasides? A Greek philosopher, Parasides, I think, is the one who said this quote that's been repeated many, many times throughout human history, which is, just because you don't take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you. That's what I try to explain to people in the Jewish community. That's what the Holocaust was about. And the fact that there were people that were attacking us from that community is just shameful, because we were up against the exact same tyranny that they experienced less than 100 years ago, right? We have, okay. Effie, you have to understand my encoder. It's really small. It's like just a small corner of the screen because I have a whole bunch of things going on. It's one of those things when a comment requires the scroll bar to pop up, I can't read it all. And but if you have something you can send me in a DM, let me know if it's important, and I'll see if I can help you. But anyways, so these specific examples are happening throughout our judicial system. I encourage you to go. I'm not trying to do a commercial, but I mean, it is kind of important because we talk about a lot of this stuff, and we need to reach people on all sides of the political spectrum. And Not on Record, the podcast Not on Record, it's not political. It's not set in any political frame, because there are people involved in that, because we have guests coming on, guest lawyers and stuff like that. And anybody who knows the constraints of people in the legal system is to not be political. So it is not a political channel, but it does touch on a lot of the issues that we've been dealing with, because there's so much overlap when it comes to restrictions of freedom, whether it's in the social atmosphere of universities and Me Too and all that sort of stuff, the Freedom Convoy, or restricting people's bank accounts financially, people who have been debanked and deplatformed. It's all part of the same umbrella, but there are many different factions with it. And Not on Record is trying to address some of these things, but from the judicial framework. What are lawyers dealing with, and what are the changes that they see happening to our legal system? I remember we did an episode a while back called Social Justice in the Courtroom. Was quite salient and quite important. So I encourage you all, when you get a chance, to check it out. All right. So, and the reason is because you want concrete examples when people talk about, what's happening. Justin Trudeau stealing freedoms. Yeah, how? Well, Those two examples. And there are many more. And it's not just, Justin Trudeau or it's the entire political class that works in conjunction with lobby firms. I mean, it's a business, right? Much like people complain in the United States that they complain about, the prison system that is privatized, and it's basically a business model to make money. It's the same thing here. But it's like that on the political level, where all the work is being farmed out. The Conservatives farm out so much of their data collection, polling information, messaging strategies. They farm it out to the firm that was co-founded by Justin Trudeau's chief of staff. Well, that's why it's the Uniparty. It's one big club, and you ain't in it. And I was asked to be in it, and I told them no thanks. Because I don't want to be a part of that sort of nonsense, right? I'd rather just comment on it and help all of you be aware. And that's what Big Con Canada Inc., that's what Freedom Corp, the Corp has become. That's why they conspired to throw myself and Chris Guerra and Chad Eros and... who else? They just brought Tamara and Chris Barber back just a few months ago, but they were also removed from the board a while ago. They resigned, and I don't know how they're back on. They're off. They're on. They're off. They're on. There's no AGM, so I don't know how that operates. And it's just it's a political grift, is what it's become. And here I am trying to warn everybody, which apparently makes me a Fed. Clown world. All right, Miss Cheryl, I never followed politics in my life. And politics kind of sucks. But we got to know about it right now in this politically heated, charged time where it's encroaching on your life. And hopefully, what I'm trying to do is get us all beyond a point where we push back against the political establishment, we weaken them so they can't encroach in your life. But this is going to be a multi-year process to do so. Which is why there's people in the political establishment who attack me, because I'm one of the few who's not playing ball with their bullshit. Thanks to all of you, and now I do. I'm not liking it. However, I'm happy to be awake and fighting for freedom. BJ, you're great at explaining it. Well, thank you, Cheryl. You've always been very sweet since you've come here, and I hope you are enjoying the Discord as well. You're right, BJdichter is a natural teacher. Well, I don't know if I'm a natural teacher. I just, I had this conversation with a journalist last week when I was in the truck who's doing some research. There's a bunch of independent journalists that are doing research and deep dives, starting from my commission testimony and then moving back, trying to verify everything. And they're verifying that, hey, Dichter was actually telling the truth. And he said to me something interesting. He said, you're in a very unique position to be able to comment on exactly how this structure and apparatus works in Canadian politics, because you're on the inside of the party. You know all the players. I still have a lot of friends who are equally concerned as you and I who are inside these political parties. And those people are doing their best to try to steady the ship, right? To help political leaders, grow a spine. There are people in there, and they're good people. And they're in multiple parties, not just one. Not just one or two. They're in multiple parties. But, and I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. Just because, my role in, I love how, I watched this thing. Mark Stein had somebody on his channel as a volunteer for the Freedom Corp. Freedom Corp, for the Freedom Convoy. I have no idea who this person is. I've never seen this person. Hey, Mark, I sent Mark a DM. I'm like, hey, dude, I don't know who this person is, but, I might have been in the center of all of this if you want to actually have information, as opposed to just consolidating a voting block, which is what so many of these alternative media platforms are doing. I'm not saying that Mark Stein is doing that. I mean, he's overseas, so it's a little bit different. But that's what our fake news, there's our fake legacy news and our fake alternative news in Canada. And they're both just trying to consolidate voting blocks for the political parties. but they're just doing for different political parties, right? They've been co-opted. I'm not engaging in that. I can guarantee you one thing. I'm not co-opted, and I will never, ever be co-opted because I hate politics. It's really for losers, but what are you going to do? We're in a position where we have to get engaged, and we have to fight back somehow. Okay, so I think, does that answer everybody's questions? And I hope everybody on locals, that kind of clarifies, because we got cut off in the middle of that. But it's those two issues that are very, very important that Trudeau has introduced in Canada to have restricted yours and mine's and everybody's freedoms, which is the end to preliminary hearings, except for the case of like extreme violent crimes, murders, and stuff like that. But sexual assault, they've gotten rid of preliminary hearings because they want to artificially inflate convictions, which means more people will be wrongfully convicted. And that's why I referenced Reuben Hurricane Carter last night. People like that would be spinning in their grave right now, spinning in their grave. Number two, defense counsel's ability to screen jurors. So it now seems that compared to Canada, My Cousin Vinny, that movie was a more legitimate legal judiciary system than what we have in Canada. It's really kind of alarming what's going on. Cheryl, thanks, BJ. Well, no, I mean it. Like, you know what? Sometimes there's days where like you see people going mouthy online, and I don't see very much of it. I hear people telling me about it, but I don't really see it myself because I'm just busy with other stuff. And then I go into the Discord, or I get DMs from people like yourself and others that are all very supportive, and you're all wonderful. And I hope at some point you'll be able to understand how helpful and how meaningful that is to me. I really do appreciate it. The other thing that just popped up before I started, which I think is important, is something I talked about last week. We were talking about the possibility of a GFC 2.0, banking crash, whatever you want to call it. And I spoke about it in Cafe Bitcoin with Greg Foss and asked him about it. I was surprised that Credit Suisse was the first one to collapse and to be amalgamated with their competitors, UBS. But I thought it would be Deutsche Bank. And because Deutsche Bank is so heavily leveraged in the derivatives market, they were upwards of close to $70 trillion leveraged in derivatives gambling. I mean, this is what they are. They become degenerate gamblers, and there is some reason for that. So it's very easy to black and white and say banks bad, not banks good. But I understand why. Part of it is regulation that's caused it, I believe, in my personal opinion, and requirements. Because we have fractional reserve lending, they always got to hedge against interest rate hikes and all that sort of stuff. It's quite complicated. But anyways, Deutsche Bank is now trending when we just started. So I don't know if that means that Deutsche Bank is on its way, and that's kind of the next bank that's going to go under. You know what they'll do? They'll say it's Trump's fault, right? Because Trump, here we go. Deutsche Bank is trending. And then when I click on, so I'm on Twitter. I should show you this. Let me try it again. I'm on Twitter right now. Let me do this live with you guys. This is funny. This is just to feed a little. This is funny tinfoil. This is not the reason, but it's always. I like a good conspiracy theory, whether it's true or not. It's sometimes just funny. It just switched. So Deutsche Bank was trending. There's Foss right now, and when I went to, let me see if how do you spell Deutsche? D-E-U-S-C-H-E. Did I spell it wrong or not? Anyways, when I just clicked it a minute ago, it was it gave me an error and said, we've made an error. We'll fix it. Something will fix it. We'll do it later on. But anyways, I think Deutsche Bank might be the next bank to collapse. Hopefully not. But if it is, I hope you all understand why I've been trying to educate people and talk to you about Bitcoin. Because that is a hedge, much like gold is a hedge, and all sorts of precious metals are hedges. You need to hedge yourself against if you have more than $250,000 in deposits. I think in Canada is $100,000 if I'm not mistaken. Whatever it is, just make sure you hedge yourself against the possibility of financial collapse, because I'm sure you all went through 2008 like the rest of us, and it wasn't quite as bad in Canada, but it was still bad. And I just want everybody to be as prepared and secure as possible. Keith says, I have to run, bud. Have a great day and have an awesome weekend. Well, I have to run as well, and I want you all to have an awesome day and an awesome weekend as well. I'll probably do a stream at some point this weekend. I got so many meetings and a couple of podcasts. Oh, I'm going to be on with the guys this weekend on Saturday night, I think. Super spreaders, they're really funny. They're awesome. They're like so deep into the COVID vaccination research and stuff, which I'm not. I'm just going to go listen to what people tell me. I want to focus on freedom and our ability to speak openly and allow people like them to speak openly, and people who want to challenge them and debate. I think the debate is healthy, but really nice guys, and I was on with them once before. So I'll be on this weekend, and I got a bunch of other stuff that I've lined up. Ryan, I measure my wealth in ounces and square footage. All right, well, there you go. The only thing is, square footage is controlled by the government. That's always my concern with it. Whereas Bitcoin, and a lot of people don't realize, under U.S. law, I think Canadian law as well, but I know definitely under U.S. law, and all countries follow the U.S. financial system. Bitcoin has been graded as, or been classified as property, believe it or not. So something to think about. Saw the show on the other night, Carpet Bull on Bitcoin. Oh, cool. Well, you know what, K9, share it in the Bitcoin channel on Discord. K9 is going to be one of our moderators on Discord as well. So thank you for being there. You guys are all awesome. Okay, I got to run. I got a really busy day. I got a million things I got to do and through the weekend, but we will talk soon. I love you all, and I hope I clarified everything from last night. And I just hope you have an awesome day. Despite all of these, like we're talking about the banking collapse and whatever. Listen, like I said a while ago, I'm very optimistic in the future. There's going to be bumps in the road. We all know that. There's always bumps in the road in life. That's what makes life interesting, right? And BRICS pulling away from the petrodollar. Yeah, I saw that. They're so dumb. They, again, are idiots in the political class. They always think they have leverage that they don't have. It's like they think they have leverage with me that they don't have, right? They always do this. And what did Putin do? Putin aligned himself with China, who we're all really concerned about because of China's political meddling in Canada. So I think that should be a lesson to freedom fighters that are pro-Putin and pro-Russia. You might not be so pro-Putin and pro-Russia if you live in Russia, because he is just like Trudeau in terms of his yes, he talks an anti-woke sentiment. That's good. So does China. But if you live there, you better not be saying anything against the government, right? And that's no different. That's the direction we're going in Canada as well. So just a lesson to the people who take a side at all in the Ukraine-Russia war. They all suck. Just like our political class, they all suck too. All right. So on that positive note, don't let it get you down. Have an awesome day. If you're in the Discord, K9, share the link in the Discord if you can. And send me a DM. And Ryan D2, send me a DM if you want me to add you to the Discord. Would love to have you there. And be safe and be good to each other. And I'll talk to you all soon.